Welcome back to Why I Hate Being a Wife. I'm your host, and today we're talking about something that nobody prepares you for when you get married. The breaking point. Or more specifically, how do you even know when you've reached it? People love to talk about marriage like it's this thing you're supposed to fight for no matter what. Marriage is work. Don't give up. You have to push through the hard times. Think about the kids. Remember your vows. But nobody ever tells you when enough is enough. Nobody tells you what the line is between working through hard times and accepting abuse. Nobody tells you how much you're supposed to tolerate before you're allowed to say, "This is too much." So, let me ask you something. How much is too much? Is it too much when you have to ask your husband 3 times to buy you menstrual products and he still doesn't do it? Is it too much when he leaves dishes in the sink every single night like clockwork, but the one time you leave a cup out, it's a problem? Is it too much when he controls the bank account and tells you there's money there, but when you try to buy groceries for his children, the card declines? Is it too much when you can't even see the account to verify if the money he says he deposited is actually there? Is it too much when you were more independent at 20-something than you are at 40 as a married woman? Because here's the thing. I'm living all of this right now, and I keep asking myself, how much am I supposed to take? How much is too much? And everyone around me has an opinion. Stay. Pray about it. Think about the kids. Marriage is hard. You have to work through it. But at what point am I not working through hard times? I'm just accepting being treated like shit? That's what we're talking about today. How much is too much in a marriage? And why nobody wants to give you a straight answer. Let's start with something everyone will tell you is small. Menstrual products. I asked my husband to buy me pads. Basic necessity, right? Something you need, not something you want. Not a luxury item, a hygiene product. I asked him once, nothing. I asked him again, still nothing. 2 days later, I'm still waiting. Now, some of you are probably thinking, just go get them yourself. And sure, yeah, I could. If I had money, if I had transportation, if I had the ability to just leave the house whenever I need something. But I don't, because I'm dependent on him for those things right now. So when I ask him to pick up something I need and he just doesn't, what is that? People will tell you it's forgetfulness. He's busy. He didn't mean to forget. But let me ask you, if it was something he needed, would he forget? If he needed deodorant, would he go 2 days without it? If he needed his prescription filled or refilled, would he just not do it? No, he'd handle it. Because when it's something that matters to him, it gets done. But when it's something I need, it's optional. It's forgettable. It's not a priority. And that's not a small thing. That's a message. That message is, you don't matter enough for me to do this basic thing for you. And when you live with messages like that, day after day, they add up. Okay, let's talk about dishes. Every single night, like clockwork, he leaves dishes in the sink. Doesn't rinse them, doesn't put them in the dishwasher, just leaves them there for the morning. Okay, let's talk about the stove. Every single time he uses the stove, he leaves a mess. Doesn't wipe it off, leaves oil spatter everywhere. And every single time, guess who deals with it? Me. Now, when I use the kitchen, spotless. I clean as I go. I don't leave a mess. The sink is dish-free, stain-free, and the stove oil-free when I'm done. But him, mess every time. And I know what you're thinking. It's just the stove. It's not that deep. But it is that deep. Because it's not about just the stove. It's about the fact that he can leave a mess and know that I'll clean it up. It's about the fact that he doesn't have to think about it because I'm there to handle it. It's about the fact that my standards don't matter. My effort doesn't matter. The fact that I keep the kitchen clean means nothing because he's going to mess it up anyway and I'm going to clean it anyway. And if I say something, if I ask him to clean up after himself, then I'm nagging. I'm being controlling. I'm making a big deal out of nothing. But it's not nothing. It's the daily, visible reminder that he doesn't respect my effort, that he doesn't have to because I'll do it anyway. That's not small. That's erosion. That's a slow wearing away of my dignity. One messy stove at a time. Now let's talk about what happened yesterday. My husband sent me a text message. I deposited $400 in Bank of America early today for you to use in any way you like. Okay, great. We need groceries. The kids need things. $400 isn't a lot, but it's something. So today, I see that my 5-year-old's pull-ups were delivered. $38 and change. Okay, that's fine. That came out of the account. Then I bought some Jamaican patties from a bakery for the kids. $33 and change. Still fine. So that's about $70 gone, which means there should be around $330 left, right? I go to buy groceries. Not even $100 worth. Basic groceries, bread, milk, whatever we need for the week. Card declines. I try again, declines. The money is gone. Now, here's the thing. I can't see the account. It's his account. He has control of it. I don't have access to check the balance. I can't see what's actually in there. So he can tell me there's $400. And I have no way to verify that. He can say he put money in the account and I just have to trust him But when the car declines, what am I supposed to think? Did he lie about the amount? Did he move the money after he told me it was there? Did he spend it on something else? Is he playing games with me? Making me think I have access to money that doesn't actually exist? I don't know, because I can't see, because I have no control, because I'm dependent on him to tell me the truth. And clearly that's not happening. And this is financial abuse. This is control. This is keeping me in the dark so I can't make decisions, can't plan, can't function independently. This is him making sure I stay dependent, making sure I stay stuck. See, here's what nobody tells you about abuse. It's not always obvious. It's not always dramatic. It's not always yelling and hitting and big blow-up fights. Sometimes it's just this. A dirty stove, request ignored over and over, money promised but not actually available, being kept in the dark about finances, having to ask for basic necessities, and being made to feel like you're begging. It's small things, constant things, things that people will tell you to let go or not make a big deal about. But they add up, and eventually, you're drowning in small things. You're suffocating under the weight of all these not a big deal moments. And when you try to explain it to people, they don't get it, because each individual thing sounds petty. He forgot to buy pads. He left the stove messy. There was confusion about money. But it's not about one thing. It's about the pattern. It's about the fact that this happens constantly, relentlessly, endlessly. It's about the fact that you can't rely on him for anything. You can't trust him to follow through. You can't even trust him to tell you the truth about how much money is in the bank. It's about the fact that you're managing everything, handling everything, taking care of everything, and he can't even do the bare minimum. And people will still tell you to stay, to work on it, to communicate better, to try harder. But how much harder am I supposed to try? How much more am I supposed to tolerate? You want to know what really gets me? When I was in my 20s, I had my shit together. I paid my own bills. I bought my own food. I managed my own money. I made my own decisions. I was independent. I was capable. I was functioning. And now, at 40, as a married woman, I am waiting on a man to buy me pads. I am begging for grocery money. I am cleaning up his messes. I am dependent on him for basic necessities. I went backwards. I became less capable, less independent, less functional by getting married. And that is not what marriage is supposed to be. Marriage is supposed to be a partnership. It's supposed to make your life better, not worse. It's supposed to add to your life, not diminish it. But here I am, less empowered at 40 than I was at 25. And people want me to stay in this. People want me to be grateful for this. They want me to say, at least I'm married. At least I have a husband. At least I'm not alone. But you know what? I'd rather be alone and struggling than married and struggling. At least if I'm alone, I'm struggling for me. I'm working toward my life. I'm building my future. Right now, I'm struggling for him. I'm working to maintain his household. I'm managing his children. I'm waiting on his permission and his follow through and his minimal effort. And he gets to act like he's doing me a favor, like he's being generous by putting money in the account, money that may or may not actually be there, like he's such a good husband for providing, while I do literally everything else. No, I don't want that anymore. So let me ask again, how much is too much? How many times do I have to ask for something before it's okay to be angry that he didn't do it? How many messes do I have to clean up before it's okay to say, I'm tired of being the only one who cares? How many times does the money have to mysteriously disappear before it's okay to call it what it is? Financial abuse. How small do I have to make myself before it's enough? And here's the thing. Nobody will give you a number. Nobody will say, okay, 3 strikes and you're out. Nobody will tell you this specific behavior is the line. Because the truth is, there is no universally agreed upon line. There's no objective measurement of too much. It's subjective. It's personal. It's based on what you can tolerate, what you're willing to accept, what you believe you deserve. And that's the trap, isn't it? Because if there's no clear line, then you can always be convinced you haven't reached it yet. You can always be told to try harder, to be more patient, to give him another chance. You can always be made to feel like you're giving up too soon, like you're not trying hard enough, like you're being selfish or unreasonable or unforgiving. And meanwhile, you're drowning, you're disappearing, you're losing yourself in the constant, relentless work of managing a household and caring for children and trying to make a dysfunctional relationship function. Here's what I know now. Marriage is not supposed to be this hard. Yes, marriage takes work. Yes, you have to communicate and compromise and show up for each other. But there's a difference between hard and impossible. There's a difference between working through challenges together and one person doing all the work while the other does whatever they want. There's a difference between partnership and servitude. Marriage is supposed to be 2 people building a life together, not one person building a life while the other person lives in it. Marriage is supposed to be mutual respect, not one person respecting others' needs and the other person ignoring them. Marriage is supposed to be shared responsibility, not one person managing everything while the other person shows up occasionally. And if your marriage doesn't look like that, if your marriage looks like what I just described, one-sided effort, ignored requests, financial control, constant messes, constant disappointment, then it's not a marriage. It's something else. And you don't have to stay in it just because there's a ring on your finger and a piece of paper that says you're legally bound. And before anyone says it, but what about the kids? You have to stay for the kids. No, I don't. You know what's worse for kids than divorce? Growing up, watching their mother be disrespected every single day. You know what kids learn when they see their father ignore their mother's needs? They learn that's normal. They learn that's acceptable. They learn that's how you treat a spouse. Your sons learn that they don't have to respect women, that they can leave messes and ignore requests and control money, and that's fine. Because that's what dad does. Your daughters learn that they're supposed to accept being treated this way, that they're supposed to clean up after men and beg for basic necessities and make themselves smaller and smaller to accommodate someone else's selfishness. Is that what you want to teach them? Is that the model you want to give them for relationships? Because I don't. I don't want my kids to think this is normal. I don't want them to think this is what love looks like. I'd rather my kids see me leave and build a better life than see me stay and accept being treated like I don't matter. And let's talk about the sacred marriage argument for a second. People love to talk about marriage vows like there's some unbreakable contract. You promised, you vowed, in sickness and in health, for better or for worse. Okay, sure, I did promise those things. But did he? Because from where I'm sitting, he's not honoring his vows either. He's not loving me. He's not cherishing me. He's not respecting me. He's not being a partner. He's not being supportive. He's not being present. So, why am I the only one who's held to these vows? Why am I the one who has to stay and endure and sacrifice while he does whatever he wants? Why is the burden of keeping this marriage together entirely on me? It's not. That's not how vows work. That's not how marriage works. And if he's not holding up his end, and he's clearly not, then I'm not obligated to drown trying to hold up both ends by myself. So, here's what I've realized. You know it's too much when you start asking the question. If you're asking yourself, how much is too much? You're already there. If you're questioning whether you're experiencing If you're questioning whether what you're experiencing is acceptable, it's not. If you're wondering if you're allowed to be angry, you are. If you're trying to figure out if this qualifies as abuse, it does. Because happy people in healthy relationships don't ask these questions. They don't wonder if they're being treated badly. They don't have to justify their own feelings to themselves. The fact that you're asking means something is wrong. The fact that you're questioning means you already know the answer. You're just waiting for permission. You're waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to leave. You're waiting for validation that yes, this is too much. And yes, you deserve better. So, let me give you that permission. It's too much. You deserve better. You're allowed to leave. You don't have to wait for him to hit you. You don't have to wait for a dramatic blow up. You don't have to wait for things to get bad enough by someone else's standards. If it's bad enough for you, that's enough. Your standards are the only ones that matter. Your tolerance is the only measurement that counts. And if you've reached your limit, you don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to prove that it's bad enough. It's bad enough because you say it. So, here's what I'm choosing. I'm choosing me. I'm choosing the woman I was at 25, independent, capable, functioning. I'm choosing to not wait on a man to give me crumbs and then throw it in my face like he's doing me some huge favor. I'm choosing to not clean up his messes anymore, to not beg for basic necessities, to not tolerate being controlled and manipulated and kept in the dark. I'm choosing to struggle on my own terms rather than struggle under his. Because here's the thing, I'm going to struggle either way. Life is hard. Being a single mom is hard. Starting over is hard. But at least if I'm struggling alone, I'm struggling toward something better. I'm building a life that's mine. I'm working for me and my kids, not for him. And that's worth it. That's worth the fear and the uncertainty and the hard work. Because anything is better than this. Anything is better than disappearing a little more every day. Anything is better than teaching my kids that this is what love looks like. So, if you're listening to this and you're asking yourself, how much is too much? Listen to me. It's already too much. You already know it. You're just looking for permission. And I'm giving it to you. You're allowed to leave. You're allowed to say enough is enough. You are allowed to choose yourself. You don't have to wait for it to get worse. You don't have to hit rock bottom. You don't have to be able to point to one specific thing that's bad enough to justify leaving. The accumulation of all these small things, that's enough. The pattern, that's enough. The fact that you're asking the question, that's enough. You deserve a partner who shows up, who follows through, who respects you enough to do the bare minimum without being asked 3 times. You deserve financial transparency. You deserve to be able to feed your kids without wondering if the money you were told about actually exists. You deserve to not have to beg for basic necessities. You deserve better than this. And the fact that you're married doesn't mean you have to accept less. Marriage is supposed to add to your life, not subtract from it. It's supposed to make you more, not less. It's supposed to be a partnership, not a prison. And if yours isn't those things, you are allowed to leave. Alright, that's it for this episode. Until then, remember, if you're asking how much is too much, you already have your answer. This is Why I Hate Being a Wife. I'm your host, and I'll see you next time. Take care.